Hey, Sherry, I see you, sister. Run a little late, but we got it. All right, we're getting started. Those of us that indulge in or commit intellectual violence don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation or ego digging. We do so because we came from a depression with lots of deeply difficult to do. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM, the education station. I'm Patrice Gibbs, third eye optometrist, joined as usual by Nsoromma.
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
Hey, Nsoromma, our intellectual surgeon.
what's good, y'all? What's good, world? How's everybody? What's happening?
All right.
Yeah.
I got to clear something up for y'all.
What?
To begin with. Last week on the show, in the midst of our discussion, I stated that Nsoromma and I are very intelligent men. And some people came off on me a little bit on that. They said, I was being arrogant and this, that, and the other, and what have you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you why I say Nsoromma and I are very intelligent men. One of the prerequisites for being intelligent is knowing that you still have a lot to learn. And that's one thing Nsoromma and I are very much aware of. That as much as we study, there's still a lot more study to be done. Is there anybody out there that, is tripping on me calling Nsoromma and myself very intelligent men? Understand why we, do ourselves like that, because we are very much studied and very much, I think you need to.
I got
you. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, we're well-studied brothers. We're not just popping up claiming that we're intelligent for no reason. So like I said, during that discussion, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And this is what makes us, feel that we can freely state that. Has nothing to do with our ego. I do not ego trip. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye is brought to you by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. The views and opinions expressed on the Open Eye are those of the host, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM or our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual. Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, changing veterans' lives all over Delaware. All right. Something else. Well, I'll get to that. I'm going to start with this first. Poverty deserves compassion, not punishment. I remember. You remember Dave O'Connell?
Uh-huh.
Dave O'Connell. He was really a study in contrast because he was a staunch conservative. But most of the people that he hired in his business, or Congress Printing Company, most of the people that he hired in his business and paid a fair wage were black people. But I remember I asked him about the perception, what I perceive from right-wing conservatives and Republicans, pretty much the same thing right now, because it seemed like they had a animosity towards poor people. He said, yes, that's the fact, we do. And I said, why? Because they're poor. And that's what I said, they didn't choose to be poor. Poverty deserves compassion, not punishment. Addiction needs treatment, not a jail sentence. Addiction needs treatment, not a jail sentence. That's something that didn't seem to be realized until the opiate addiction crisis, where the largest percent, probably 95% of those addicts were white. That changed the attitude on the war on drugs. When the war on drugs, when the main drug of choice amongst addicts was crack, they were criminalized because they were black. Addiction needs treatment, not a jail sentence. During the height of the crack cocaine addiction, black people that were on crack, their communities were destroyed, their families were hurt and destroyed.
And they didn't care, period.
And they didn't
like,
care.
oh, well.
Yeah, but even worse than that, is the fact that the crack was pushed into the community by the government. Oh, that's conspiracy theory. No, it's not. Oliver North bought cocaine in Central America, pushed it and sold it in the United States, initially in California, in LA. Well-known drug, Freeway Rick Ross, remember him?
Almost definitely.
Yeah, and they used that money to finance their political allies in Central America, in Nicaragua. It's a well-known fact. The reporter that broke that story allegedly committed suicide. Okay, we know better than that, because don't nobody commit suicide with 2 shots to the back of the head.
Right. We get killed all the time, man, and they go unnoticed.
Yo, this is a white reporter.
I mean, period.
Anybody speaking truth to power.
I mean, when you are being of the good of the world, you sometimes get crushed, you get stumped. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I mean, anytime you try and play a good role, people look down on you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's crazy.
Yeah. So he committed suicide. Fiction is just that, fiction, and that was murder. Mental illness requires care, not a cage. When you have people that are suffering from mental illness, and sometimes that suffering causes them to act out, sometimes violently.
Right.
The worst thing in the world to do is to call the cops who have no training in dealing with mental illness, and they show up and kill the person, especially if they're black. This is what they do.
But that's where I think everything go wrong, because they're supposed to have that kind of training first,
right?
Instead of shoot first. If you want to be a warrior, go to the service.
That's what I'm saying.
Really go fight in the war. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, a lot of states and cities are finally recognizing the danger that you put a mentally ill person in when you call the cops, and they are forming mental health task force that are to be called instead of the cops. So big ups to those states that have at least enough compassion to realize that cops are not the answer when someone is dealing with mental illness. Decriminalize human pain. Invest in people, not prisons.
Right.
And I'd like to thank Sister Tracy Johnson for giving me that, for putting that out there.
Yo, I want to shout out to my niece's family too, because she just passed away, you know what I'm saying? Y'all stay strong, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know who you are, you know.
Our condolences.
Sure.
Of course. Yes, sir. You know, one of the things that I talk about, of course, we talk about here, is our political structure.
Right.
You know, and how we really don't understand our political structure. A lot of us don't. A lot of us do, Nsoromma, but a lot of us really don't. And our political structure, our economic structure, is capitalism. Now, of course, on the other side, America's opponent, as far as their economic structure, is communism, which is, you know, the structure that is most prevalent in Russia. Now, what you have to understand about both is if there isn't something to offset the evils of these systems, you wind up, you know, with, well, for instance, capitalism. Capitalism without some socialism to offset the exploitation of capitalism becomes fascism. That's what we're damn near there. Because
I actually thought we've been there, because in the main positions that the government has, that's all up there is fascists. You know what I'm saying? So the world is basically ran by fascists. So that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you can't hide what it really is once you see. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then they want to close the people's eyes that's seeing. So you don't really want to let them know you see. You know?
Right.
So what do you do in a situation like that?
Well, you know, you get people in office that understand the exploitation of capitalism has to be tempered with democratic socialism. Now, that does take place to a great extent in the U.S., except for when the right wing gets in. The democratic socialism in the U.S. government provides many benefits of democratic socialism to its citizens, benefits that could be considered elements of the common good and help define the American way of life. Through taxation, citizens put capital in a pool for the shared use of all to financially support these items. This list is extensive, but only a partial accounting of the benefits. For instance, Social Security. Now, all those people running around talking about, I ain't no socialist, socialism is communism. Turning your goddamn Social Security card. And you're on Medicare, Medicaid, you're getting welfare services, disability assistance, food stamps, food assistance programs, unemployment, employment training, public schools, colleges. These are all
government,
all democratic socialist programs that help temper the exploitation of capitalism. Understand what kind of system we're living under and what you should and shouldn't support in that situation. Yeah, so, you know, last week, something else I want to clear up. Last week we got into discussion about, you know, the difference between black people and white people. And I know, like yourself, you know, a lot of us say that, you know, under the skin, we're all the same. Okay, and of course I disputed that.
I mean, to me, it's not the shell that you're carrying. I told you it's the essence of the spirit of your being.
Right.
So there's no physical structure to what I believe you are.
Okay.
That's all I was saying.
I heard that. Yeah, and you know, you ain't off the mark on that. You know what, you know me.
Oh yeah, but you want to bring it to America.
Right.
Right. And the scientific terms.
Right. And it comes from their science.
And the proof and the facts.
And the proof
and that's what we do.
Yes,
okay, what you got for me, homie?
Okay. Where did they come from? Okay.
I thought they come from a mother and a father, and as we go back, mother and the father and the mother and the father.
Remember when that so-called forensic scientist came up with that bust of Nefertiti. You remember that? And they had it on the news. And he took the hood off of that thing. Was supposed to be such a
yeah. And
it was
it was European.
yeah.
I was like, yo,
and you know, ain't nobody want to say nothing, right? On the news. Oh yeah. But you know, I don't know who carved that bust up, but that was one homely child. I'm sorry. That's word. Whoever carved that up, y'all should at least try to pretty her up. Well, here's the thing. We know that the white Nefertiti is fake. Her actual face is carved with her husband, Pharaoh Akhenaten, on his temple. Nefertiti was a black woman. Matter of fact, there were no white humans in Europe until long after most blacks that were there fled the monstrous, savage Neanderthals and returned to Africa. Some stayed and tried to tame the Neanderthal, tried to tame the savages and mated with them and tried to civilize them. Mm-hmm. The Neanderthal human mutations could not be civilized and remain hunter-gatherers. See, the Africans, they dealt with agriculture, and really because the land of Africa was so plentiful, right? They didn't have to be hunter-gatherers. Right. And just reach up and grab you some food. The problem was the Neanderthal human mutants, like their Neanderthal ancestors, had calcified pineal glands and thus could not produce melanin. Thus, they were genetically inferior with weak immune systems and susceptible to disease. Hmm. Like most fur bearers, Neanderthals feared fire and ate raw meat.
So you're saying they came from Bigfoot?
Oh,
I was just talking about say something.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, why not? That's what Bigfoot is.
You sound like you was okay.
Yeah, well, but eventually the original Neanderthals died off. Now,
did Bigfoot exist?
Well, I think Bigfoot was just a big Neanderthal myself. Or
and you thought it? You think it existed before?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's word. But like I said, there are Neanderthal human offspring. Mm-hmm. Bred much of the Neanderthal out and could no longer compete with the wild animals in the manner that the savage parents could, and sought higher ground for protection. Guess where they went? Many gathered in mountainous areas like the Caucasus Mountains. However, these offspring still had calcified pineal glands, could not produce melanin, remained genetically inferior, and their taste for blood and savage nature has barely been tempered to this day. The Caucasians oppressed, murdered, and made war on each other for centuries. The worst victims being white women. Until they came into contact with other societies, and then they oppressed and murdered and made war on them. It's in their ancestral blood. It's in their DNA. You can dispute that all you want, but I didn't make that up. That comes from scientists here in America. Yeah, it comes from mainstream academia, who has declared that this is what happened. And it's from their research. So, I say it would have a level of validity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, I would say that it has a level of validity. Yeah.
Okay, my question is, with knowing all of that about them, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that they can be trained or taught to be a certain type of way as a species? Do you think you can teach them English, or do you think you can teach them? Do you think they can grow to be better Neanderthals?
Well, I want to say yes, but judging from their history and their behavior, I would be hard pressed to say that this is the case. Yeah, and of course, like in
that's only a few, and that's only a some, and that some is in control of the mainstream stream. You know what I'm saying? So even the ones that's not like that really don't have a voice.
Right.
And that I think has to be addressed.
Yeah, yes, it does. But because you're absolutely right. Those that aren't like that, in spite of their DNA and heritage and what have you,
Right.
you know, and see, it comes down to like we was talking about before, like the analogy that Muhammad Ali gave about the snakes. You got 100 good snakes and, you know, 1,000 bad snakes. You can't trust 100 good snakes to try to protect you from that 1,000 bad snakes. You know, and as I said, you know, it's
they did a lot of things. They had this one training where as though they was teaching kids, and they had like a white guy with an axe, and then they had a brother dressed in a suit, and then they had a brother dressed like I don't know, a hip hop dude or whatever.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And they asked. It was a classroom full of white kids.
Okay.
And they said, "Yo, which one is dangerous? The most dangerous?"
Okay.
They said the guy in the suit.
The black guy in the suit.
Yeah.
Because that's the indoctrination. They're trained to see us as dangerous.
The white guy with the axe was a real serial killer.
Ain't that a blip?
He was a real serial killer, and the other one was going to school and just chilling on the street. You see what I'm saying? And that's how brainwashed we are as Americans living in America, that the media can feed us what they want.
Right. And
we are always recording.
Yes.
So we so susceptible to, you know, the intake, because we want that data. Our brain can hold like over 60,000 libraries worth of stuff.
For data, right?
That's a lot.
That is.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They don't have a terabyte or a yottabyte that can hold more than our brain.
How about that?
As a computer, they have to pack them together and keep building them up. You see what I'm saying? So America itself is on the brink.
Right. And you know what? I dig what you said right there too, because it makes me think of what David Banner said. The computer is based on the human brain. You know, the computer programming unit, and that is our brain, okay, has been, you know, like okay, you have a computer, and when the computer starts messing up, you know what's wrong. It has a virus. And that's what this indoctrination on people is. It's a virus. You know, and it's been uploaded to so many brains, you know, so many human computer units, you know. That's what, you know, a big problem in our society is. Anytime you get people who know right from wrong, and still, because of the indoctrination, will go with the wrong, you know that we have a problem. And that problem is indoctrination, and that indoctrination has been going on here in North America and actually worldwide since before there was an America. You know, and it's been going on and on and on. You know, it's crazy. You see some white people that have this hatred for black people, and most of them have no idea why. Because that's what they're taught. You know, like Jay Elliott said, if you are a white person and you are not racist on some level, you have to escape the indoctrination that is the American educational system.
So we think about your president forgetting all his words, and you know.
Well, you know what?
he said this one word he couldn't even say.
Well, you know, see, this is what we get.
Yo, what's going on?
Yeah, this is what we get. Okay. Yeah, I know. Like, you know, some people say that, you know, that he has a speech impairment. He used to stutter. So he tries to take his time with words, and when he's actually look like he might be senile, he's actually thinking it through. Okay, that's what y'all say, but damn, he's 78 years old.
Right. I mean, when do Alzheimer's kick in?
Well, Alzheimer could kick in at any age.
Right, at any age.
At any age,
So,
yeah.
and being in the medical field,
Mm-hmm.
You can see how things evolve if you see it all the time.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
I hear you.
So, I mean, I think we're about to have the first woman president.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? On that level,
Mm-hmm.
just on me on my thoughts. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I hear you.
Situation.
Kamala Harris over there, like, yeah.
Like, go ahead.
Gonna be going
Add
now.
up one more thing.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I just, is America ready for him and her? Oh, I mean,
her?
what's next, man?
I don't know.
Like Jigga said, wait do you see what I do next?
Lord of mercy.
So
what they gonna do next? I have no idea. Like I said, like you said, is the world ready for Kamala? For President Kamala Harris? You know, and more importantly to me, is Black America ready for President Kamala Harris? Because we know her record. You know how hard I was on her when she was first running for president, and for good reason.
I mean, why do they all try to actually manipulate the black people when they running like that? We have to make it count. We have to make a real dent in that voting aspect of what they be doing, because they be going after our votes like.
Yeah. Well,
everything to try to get us in the beginning too,
mm-hmm.
as a, you know what I'm saying? So, how long can we fall for that as a people?
Man, oh man, we gonna deal with that.
We see them then because they carry a bottle of hot sauce in their pocketbook, nothing cool. That's like
pandering. That's what that is. They're just pandering to us, and some of us get sucked up on that. Kamala Harris played that, right on Sister Girl thing. Sister Girl, I got some hot sauce. Yeah, I listen to Cardi B. You don't be sorry.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Opinions.
Yeah, that's all, we're just trying to bring it. One of the things, well, let me see if I got this. I know I got this because I want to get to that. 844-944-3953.
Hit us up.
Hit us up.
WHGE 95.3 FM.
Now, I talked about, might have been a couple of weeks ago, actually, Delaware, along with New York, California, and a few other states, passed what is known as the Crown Act.
The Crown Act.
Right.
I can't remember that we talked about it. We talked about it on the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the Crown Act states that you cannot discriminate against a person for the way they wear their hair. And of course, that act, or signed into law, is of course meant to protect Black people, because especially our women, we're the only people penalized for the way our hair grows naturally from our head. Case in point, anybody got some scissors? Okay. Black North Carolina high school softball player was told she had to cut her hair during her team's senior night game.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So they made a law for us to we can grow our hair anyway, or it's against the law that grow our hair how we regularly grow it.
Well, it's against the law to penalize us for the way our hair grows naturally from our head.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Black women's hair is political. That's crazy. But it's scrutinized, policed, protested over, ostracized, ridiculed, debated, and even shamed. And it always has been here in America. Case in point, like I was saying, this young athlete, Nicole Powles, faced a difficult decision that should have never even came up. In the middle of her senior game, now, she'd been playing with her hair the way it was. In the middle of her senior night game, Hillside High School rivals Jordan High, Powles had to cut the beads from her hair or leave the game. I'm sorry, sister, you should have went on and left the game, young lady. The News and Observers note that the request came from two of the game's umpires who were following a strict interpretation of a National Federation of State High School Associations rules that allows players to use bobby pins, barrettes, and hair clips, but prohibits plastic visors, bandanas, and hair beads directed at black women. Now, a lot of our sisters, I'm glad to see, had caught on and stopped weaves in the hair and getting the hair combed or processed or having a perm done or whatever it is called. Running over here to the hair supply store owned by an Indian, an Arab, or an Asian, who takes that money when the sun goes down and goes and finances another part of the town. Stop participating in your own oppression. Stop financing your own oppression. Another way, and I brought this up before, and big ups to Umar Johnson or whatever trouble he's having for pointing this out. When you put your money in a church collection plate, what do you get back? Hope and a future after you die. If I have to die to experience my heaven, I don't need that religion. Anyone that tells me that I should be content with accepting hell on earth when the white man, the Arab, and the Asian, and the Indian has his heaven here, but I gotta die to get mine, that's a religion we don't need. Because that's a religion of servitude. We need to put the black church to task and ask them what they're doing with their Jesus money. Let me tell you what they're doing with your Jesus money for you churchgoers. Every black church in America has their money in a white bank. It is the white banks that are funding the regentrification ethnic cleansing movement. So all of us who go to church put $3 million in church coffers every Sunday. $3 million goes to the white bank every Sunday, and guess what they do on Monday? They take $3 million of black people's white Jesus money and give loans to white land developers and businesses and entrepreneurs that come to the ghetto where the church is located, buy up all the property, and force grandma out on the street homeless. Now grandma been going to that church for 30 or 50 years. Grandma been giving that church $50 every Sunday. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, grandma has to face the reality that it was your Jesus money that put her ass out on the street. Stop financing your own oppression. See it going on all over. For instance,
did you hear about the gases, man?
The gas
prices, the gas, and how everybody was going crazy about the gas.
Oh, yeah.
Gas right now.
Jeez Louise.
How they hacked it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They was putting gas in plastic bags.
Did you see that?
Buckets.
That was the craziest thing. You see the woman put the gas in the plastic bag?
And then try to double the
pack. Yeah.
She was Asian.
And put it in her trunk.
She was Asian.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at,
what's going on?
What's going on with the planet? Like, she really could have blew everybody up.
How about that?
Did you see the guy filling up the not the what you call them thing, Tupperware?
Yeah, the plastic thing. Yeah. And somebody ran in the back, it'd have been like a nuclear explosion.
Now, did you see the boy just taking and putting it in his trunk? Just spraying it in his trunk, trying to hold it in his trunk, trying to fill up his trunk with gas.
Oh, no, I haven't seen him. Jeez, another one waiting for an explosion.
And that's like, this is what our world is coming to. Like, that's how gullible, these people are.
Yeah, because anytime they come out with anything that says, oh, we're going to have a shortage on this,
right?
Then you get people that run out and want to hoard it and get, oversupply with it and what have you.
And then you got these media frenzy people that want to do something so outrageous that they get caught on, media and go viral because they want to be, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is. That's right. WHGE 95.3 FM, the open eye. True. Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma in the building.
Stay tuned.
Yo, what's good? You see y'all? What's up, Shay? I see you. Good morning. What's good? Hey, yo. Hey, Ed. Hey, yo, Marcy. What's up?
What's
How
up,
you
Marcy?
doing? Ain't nothing. That's what we doing. Where you at?
Jesus.
Throw your waves up to your boy. Let me know what's good.
buddy.
Hey, yo, you feel hungry? You go check out Home Diggities too. That's my boy, yo. The boy got the bruh for real.
Jeez Louise, man. It's 11:52. God, what you doing? I'm gonna have to get this and get to this. Yeah. All right.
Billy Boy, what's good? Hit me up. You know what it is. Tanya. Stay strong, man.
Delaware Center for Women's Vet was founded by veterans
I probably got a link with him. Yeah, I gotta see him too.
and worked well with military
Wow.
misunderstood by other. Delaware Center for Homeless Vet is proud to announce Homeless Veterans Youth Integration Program and Incarcerated Veteran Transition Program.
Did you do that on yours? Get your invite list.
Yeah, I just do that all the time. Every time I go on.
Oh, okay. I think you almost at the point where you don't have to get it.
Right. No, you know what I mean.
Right.
But usually I just mess with about 20 people
They,
and then let that. Wow.
Contact the Delaware Center for Homeless Vet.
Yo, it's good.
all right, all right. Just share y'all there still.
Oh, yeah, good, good.
Oh, yeah.
Good, good.
That's my girl.
That's
That's my hometown.
7411.
That's where Sherry keep it
Delaware
real.
Center for Homeless Vet. Changing Veterans' lives all over Delaware.
WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yeah.
Dove and I.
True.
Yes, indeed. Now, I mentioned to you to stop financing your own oppression.
Right.
And, I know it's about the survival of our people. So you get some people that get emotional about that and they want to run out and they're calling for us to take up arms and go ahead and fight the white man. We got to be smart about this, because we're not ready. David,
No, we got to take up arms. We got to arm ourselves. We got to actually go get our. If you don't have a felon, you can carry.
yeah,
It's an open state carry. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
You have the right to protect yourself.
yeah,
Now, yes,
And
you
I
have to
agree.
protect yourself,
mhm,
but that don't mean attack and shoot people.
right,
The way we have to do it, we have to actually put it to paperwork and go through,
and be
put the
smart and
paperwork
subtle
in,
about it,
right? Put the paperwork in because it's a process, and that
Mhm.
process never leaves.
right?
You know what I'm saying? Once you put it to the paper, it's on ink.
hmm You know what? And see, and this is something, like Nsoromma said, self-defense by all means.
Most
Okay,
definitely protect yourself.
that's word. But to start a revolution, like you said, there's a process. And you have to know the proper steps, the rules of revolution. There are things that have to be in place. Vision, planning, clarity of purpose. Now see, we're a little bit all over the place.
First of all, revolution never stops.
Right. No, revolution doesn't stop with people that constantly learn and change because revolution is change. And change is constant. So that, gives validity to what you said. There has to be collective purpose, there has to be collective trust, and most importantly, unity.
Unity.
At the height of our discontent is when our unity has been at its most significant. And when I say the height of our discontent, We were not content to be slaves. We were at the height of our discontent.
Mhm.
And we had the unity to bring about change. Don't just, about the Civil War. Let me tell y'all something. It wasn't just about some people in the North, some white people in the North that had a good heart and said, we got to stop this.
Right.
They understood the pressure that black people were bringing to bear, and that was going to increase. So they told whites in the South, look, y'all got to let them go because it's going to be a real bad problem.
That's right.
And of course, whites in the South, this was their lifestyle and very profitable, and they wasn't with it.
Right.
So they had to have a war. The only country in the world that had to have a war to end slavery. Like I told you, the ingredients of every successful revolution has been the things that I named. Clarity of purpose, collective purpose, unity. These are the ingredients. And there'll be dedication to the point of ruthlessness.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really mean it. And some of us, we don't mean it. Case in point, right here in Wilmington. Now, young brother Keith James, a very strong voice in our community. Big ups to the brother.
Okay. Yeah, big ups on me.
Yep. And he said 2 years ago, he posted about the $6 million that was going into Rodney Square. He said today he is posting the share that the city of Wilmington wants to use $50,000 per year for water and flowers for Rodney Square. And this is coming from the pockets of the taxpayers. He said, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the residents didn't ask for this or desire these changes to Rodney Square. The businesses did. Now that the changes are made, none of them are helping with the upkeep. And, this is an expense, is clear example of how our city makes irresponsible financial choices. Thank you, Councilwoman Shane Darby, for bringing this and other budget concerns to the light for the public to respond to. Now the community needs to speak up. The community needs to speak up. I'm encouraging all city council of Wilmington to vote no on this proposed budget and make the proper changes that will actually benefit the community and not the administration and their friends. $6 million spent unnecessarily down Rodney Square for what? You been to Rodney Square? Look any different to you?
No.
Man, wasted my damn money. I want my money back. Yeah, I want my money back. And what it comes down to is who's welcome downtown. No low-income people can afford the prices at the new restaurants on Market Street. Prices average about $20 a meal. Remember Kennedy's Fried Chicken? Oh yeah, they going.
Mm-hmm.
And the food was cheap, their lease ran out, and they were promptly closed down and kicked out. Message, can't afford a meal downtown, keep it moving. Homeless people sleeping on downtown benches, that ain't going on no more.
That's what $50,000 of them flowers should have went to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They ain't thinking like that. Has just been through something.
Yeah.
They not bad people.
Mm-hmm.
If you really talk to homeless people, he might have been a scientist, or she might have been a doctor before that happened, and they went through something as a human being. You know what I'm saying? So it should be organizations, and some of that money should be set up to help them. Just to help people, period, in situations like that,
right?
Instead of looking down on them. You know what I'm saying? That's
word. And see, the message is, if you don't fit the new criteria, the new face that's trying to be put on Wilmington, a place to be somebody, unless the powers that be think they're nobody. The message is, don't bring your ass downtown. So see, we oh man. Ooh. Don't you? Yeah, I'm trying not to. What we have to do as a people, we talked about the indoctrination, is there has to be a reprogramming of the mind. Yes, we still suffer the slave mentality, but even accept the limitations the oppressor has placed on us. So our primary goal must be the liberation of our minds. This cannot be done easily or quickly. It can only be done through persistence and constant reprogramming of our thought process and value system. That's why you tune in to the Open Eye, because we are participating in reprogramming. That's what, and I would advise you, you know, I may be prejudiced and this, that, and the other, because this is my friend, but to listen to some of Nsoromma's music. Get some reprogramming.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, well, brother, we are closing it up at what was usually an hour. We cut down 45 minutes because we was a little late. Sorry about that, y'all.
Right.
You know, but we bringing around to close of the show. A glass that is full cannot hold more water. It must be emptied first. Reprogramming. And remember, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
I'm Nsoromma.
WHGE
95.3
FM. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. 844 WHGE 953. Yo, what's the password to the Wi-Fi?
Here? I don't know. I don't know what it is here.
Yo, you know what it is. We ending up the show. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all for bouncing in. Thank y'all for joining in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that support, keep supporting. We shout you out when we see you.